Welcome to the LDF 2024 First Look. My name is Bianca Gidwani, and I look after the PR for the festival. Thank you for joining us this evening. This year's festival will be taking place from the 14th to the 22nd of September. And today we're going to be joined both in person and remotely by participants in the program. They're going to take us behind the scenes of what they've been working on and tell us a little bit about what we can expect in September. We'll be taking a look at our landmark projects, our festival commissions, the LDF program at the V&A, as well as our districts, commercial pillars, and our graphic identity. LDF was founded in 2003 and is considered one of the world's premier design events. Since its very early days, the festival has played a major role in positioning London as a global creative capital, bringing together the international design community. We are proud to once again announce the Mayor of London as principal supporter for 2024. This year's edition is also supported by Bloomberg Philanthropies, and Bloomberg Connects will be the official digital guide for the festival. It will feature behind-the-scenes, exclusive content, as well as exhibition maps. I'd like to begin by introducing Ben Evans, co-founder and director of the festival.
Hello.
Hi, Ben. This is the 22nd edition of the festival. It continues to grow and evolve. What makes the festival makeup so unique?
If I think back to those early years, it has been an evolution. And I think one of the big changes is I think there were like 5 or 6 global cities doing design promotion activity back in 2003 and 4. At the last count, it's close to 200. And I hope and think that London is kind of somewhere near the top if there is a kind of hierarchy of those cities. But it suggests something that, you know, doing design promotion and telling stories about design, because I think we are all storytellers, is kind of a good thing for a global city to do. I don't know if you saw, but there was a report came out during the mayoral election about the size of London's creative community, which is now 1 in 5 of every jobs. And, you know, our ongoing relationship with the mayor's office is because we're contributing to this story of London as a kind of global creative hub and how important it is for kind of showcasing to be part of that. We've been through a few difficult years, but I think, you know, this year, and to some extent last year, it feels as close to kind of normal. Well, I mean, normal is back to, you know, 2018 as it is. You know, one of the big issues for us is kind of getting around the city, because it's a big place. And I'm pleased, we'll be talking a bit more about it later, that we've got 11 districts this year, which are really important way to kind of see different parts of the city and clusters of activity, which enable you to see a lot of stuff close to each other.
Over the years, the festival has been a bit of a barometer for what's happening in the industry, both in London and the UK, but also internationally. How do you think design is evolving, and what are some of the themes or trends that you're seeing designers are working with?
Well, we've talked in recent years about, I mean, sustainability has been a big issue for many years, and you know, that's evolved into circularity, and we've been working with various people on that side. We talked last year about a kind of growing relationship with tech, and how design is a means for tech to be consumed by kind of wider audiences. You know, I think evolving from that also is kind of ideas around play, and how designers are kind of using the you know, the creativity of design to, you know, in reach and engage audiences in a kind of sometimes a lighter way and a more engaging way.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Ben. The festival's landmark projects are large-scale commissions that transform iconic locations throughout the city. Today, we're pleased to announce 3 of these commissions. Major partner Johnny Walker will be launching a landmark project with a future-facing designer. which we will be announcing very soon, as well as new groundbreaking design innovation at this year's festival. As a brand rooted in progress, Johnny Walker will be unveiling a first-of-its-kind design innovation that focuses on craft and luxury. This will be brought to life during the festival in September. To tell us a bit more about this, we have Jennifer English, Johnny Walker Global Brand Director, and Jeremy Lindley, Diageo Global Design Director, joining us remotely. Johnny Walker has a rich history of design and collaborations. Where did this all start?
Look, first, sorry we can't be with you. We are both in Cannes at Cannes Lions this week. We would have loved to have been there in person, but thank you for coping with us being remote. Yeah, look, Johnny Walker was actually born out of a progress agenda, a desire to push the boundaries of what's possible, and progressive design is really core and fundamental to this. We've worked with iconic designers over the years and artists to encapsulate this sense of progress. I think probably I'd say it's over 100-year commitment to design. So you've got the grandson of the founder, Sir Alexander Walker. He created the square bottle, the angled label. It's one of the first examples of really distinctive packaging design. It's recognized the world over. Sir Alexander also commissioned the famous cartoonist Tom Brown to create the iconic Striding Man, which has adorned our bottles and our advertising ever since. So you've got this kind of combination of iconic square bottle, 20-degree angled label, Striding Man, which makes Johnny Walker instantly recognizable. So staying true to that heritage is really important. Also, we prioritize looking to the future, exploring how we can push the boundaries in the name of collective progress. So we've been whiskey innovators for 200 years, and all of our actions are about building the next 200 years of Scotch.
Brilliant, thank you so much. We're really excited to be partnering with you for the very first time. Why has Johnny Walker decided to partner with the festival?
Yeah, we're partnering with London Design Festival on this landmark project because it really shares the values of Johnny Walker, future-facing, prioritizing progress, and embracing innovation. At this year's LDF, we're set to unveil a new groundbreaking design innovation. And we felt this was exactly the place for it. The innovation will focus on craft and luxury design, themes that we'll bring to life even further in the landmark project. And this is where we're focusing our innovation efforts in general to create better taste, better packaging, better experiences, redefining where and why luxury consumers enjoy whiskey. We'll be crafting the landmark project in partnership with a future-facing designer who shares our brand values of progress and innovation. And side by side with that, we'll create an experience that allows people to immerse themselves in our design world. We're looking forward to telling the story of our design innovation, the inspiration, craft, and the significance of the project at the Global Design Forum.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy your time at Cannes.
Thank you very much.
Our next project that I'm very delighted to announce is Vert by American Hardwood Export Council. This will be a groundbreaking sustainable structure designed by the leading industrial design practice, Dietz Office. This is in collaboration with OMCC at the Parade Ground at Chelsea College of Art. The installation will serve as a living ecosystem, supporting local biodiversity, a habitat for essential insect populations, as well as a space for visitors to gather during the festival. I am pleased to be joined today by Rocío Pérez Inigo, Director of Communications at AHEC, and also Luis Betín, Lead Designer of the project from Dietz Office. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Rocío, can you tell us a little bit about the work that AHEC is doing, particularly around forest resilience and promoting sustainable practices?
Of course, at AHEC we represent a sustainably regenerating resource and also one that is sustainably managed. And our mission or goal is to inspire architects and designers to make more informed choices when it comes to timber. So we have a long-standing relationship with the London Design Festival, and over the last 14 years we've developed a series of collaborative and experimental projects, many of which have been structures. We've pioneered different hardwood solutions, such as hardwood CLT, and we are very proud to be presenting a new solution this year in collaboration with DF's office and OMCC, which is red oak glue laminated timber, or glulam. We, in terms of answering to how we kind of contribute to forest resilience, we believe very strongly that we should be using more of what nature provides instead of what trends dictate. So the sustainable resource we represent is almost 20% of that resource is red oak, this amazing species, which is not really being used in Europe at the moment. Mm-hmm. So we think it deserves more attention, and we are working to present its structural and aesthetic qualities. So yeah, we're very excited to be working on this project, and we think this collaboration will continue this important work that we've been doing with LDF throughout the last 14 years or so.
Brilliant, thank you so much. And could we hear from you, please, Luis, a little bit about the inspiration and the philosophy behind the installation? What is it that you're sort of addressing here through this project?
Yes, well, for this installation, I would like to talk more about an observation more than an inspiration. Like as we all know, the cities are like warming up year after year. It's becoming really less livable, and from this, so this is the first observation, and the second is like we thought like, okay, how important is like greening in our surrounding, and we always see that it has a great power of design, this greening, and it brings such a nice atmosphere and a livable space. So we thought in the first discussion with AEC, how can we translate that into something in the urban space, and we were already collaborating with OMCC, so this was all the ingredients, and our philosophy of industrial design was making us able to, or at least we believe that we could use this valuable material, the red oak, to work with this in a bigger scale, in like the scale of architecture, which is not our main. We are mainly working on furniture, so it was also a great challenge to use this material and these kind of observations and try to combine them.
Oh, thank you. Can you tell us a bit more about the collaboration with OMCC? Because as you just said, these three things have come together as key ingredients, so it'd be great to hear about that as well.
Of course. OMCC is a young startup based in Frankfurt, which started 3 years ago developing a system of planting to grow plants on a really fast time in places where we cannot create a big infrastructure for trees, and this was like a starting point 3 years ago, and we have been collaborating with them to think about a vision for this solution and how can we implement it in the cities with structure, and so that's what they do.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our third landmark project that we're announcing today is Duo by the Turkish designer and artist Melek Zeynep. It will be displayed at the Royal Naval College's Painted Hall and will be an innovative suspended installation that explores duality and interaction. A rectangular prism, it features magnets and sensors that are strategically placed to repel each other, that creates interaction between the audience and the installation. I would like to welcome Melek Zeynep, who is dialing in from Turkey.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit about what visitors will experience and some of your inspiration behind this installation?
Mm-hmm. Firstly, hello everyone. I'm sure it will be a fantastic season and I'm excited. I'm very happy to work once again with the creative signature producing London Design Festival team this year. So Duo is the second piece our Open Monument series. It explores and balances our relationship with matter, serving as a space for an interdimensional dialogue, with an expression that appears ancient yet leans towards the surreal, and it merges architecture, art, mechanical systems, and sound design. So our aim is to make the space function like a human body. And by integrating sensory elements, we are using sensors and perceptual devices allowing it to perceive its surroundings like human body. This crucial aspect form the core of the project, transforming the structure into a living mechanism that reacts like skin and animates the space. So why? Because behind all forms, all styles, designs, and narratives lies something else. Lucio Fontana famously sliced through the canvas, stating, "I don't know what's behind it, but there's something else." This manifesto resonates deeply with me. And by animating matter and space with sensory and perceptual systems, I aim to transform the perception into an exhibition and a performance. So I choose spatial narratives because the first boundary, fairy, and matter-human encounters is the womb. And our relationship with space is existential, based on our interaction with boundaries and enclosure. So the metaphor of the cave or the house in hermetic narratives is linked to the womb. In Duo, we animate matter and space to perceive and beyond, creating a stage. I consciously select monumental and shared form embedded and in everyone's subconscious, making them flexible, interactive, and vocal allows for an encounter with an essence. This begins a meeting of times, dimensions, and perceptions in our minds, starting with the visitor's participation. This creates a dialogue or perception. You face a figure you have known for centuries, perceiving you, no longer rigid, and you shape it. This interaction exhibits the duality, actually. We term the grade two, but it's not an answer, it's a question mark.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Melek. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the interactive aspect of Duo?
Sure, of course. Firstly, this exhibition and performance begin the moment the visitors arrives. You are part of it, and in fact, you create this exhibition. And when you encounter Duo, you will see an ancient figure capable and movement and in certain areas sound and architectural animation, actually. As I mentioned earlier, we incorporate sensors, some lenses, and specialized microphones to make it sensory. These sensors enable this monumental figure to start mimicking you, operating on the fundamental physical principle of action-reaction. And so your calmness becomes its calmness. Your sound becomes its sound. Your movement becomes its movement. And you develop a dialogue between you and the space, a dialogue that is at times primitive and physical, simultaneously perceptual. And the sound of your rhythm accompanies this interaction, intensifying or diminishing based on contact. This experience between the visitor and the work becomes the exhibition itself, observing a primitive behavioral pattern and our relationship with matter. It functions like a portal and balances us. And since it is fundamentally a stage setup, experiencing and entering that space will convey the essence of the work for more than words can. It is dynamic and experiential, So we look forward to welcoming everyone to Painted Hall in September. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Melek. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In addition to our landmark projects, we're also very excited to announce 2 of our festival commissions for this year. We're very excited to be working with last year's Emerging Design Medal winners, Power Out of Restriction, also known as Pool Collective, who will this year be partnering with Battersea Power Station. They're going to be creating a community-inspired installation. Pool will be hosting a series of workshops for Wandsworth-based school children and youth groups to design an exciting piece of public art. I'd like to introduce Sean Adams, co-founder of Pool Collective, to tell us about their plans.
All right. So yeah, super exciting collaboration with Battersea Power Station. It's really a project that's going to really touch each of our hearts because we have quite a strong connection to Battersea. So 3 of the co-founders went to the Royal College of Art, and one of our first projects was actually to work with a community group in Battersea called Carnies. And we've done quite a lot of work in Battersea where we've engaged with local schools, so South Thames, Harris Academy, Wandsworth. So it's kind of a full circle here where we've gone from just kind of engaging those schools and trying to give them access to architecture and built environment, but now being able to actually create something with people from these schools. And I think one of the reasons that is super exciting, because if there's any South Londoners in here, Okay, quite a few. Any of you that are from South London will know that there's been massive changes in the area in Wandsworth, in Battersea from the last 5, 10, 15 years. And now that Battersea Power Station's here, we have such a powerful beacon in South London. But it's so important that the people that have always been in that area's voice are heard, because go into the area, you can already see that there's been many changes. But for us, as a community-based organization, but also as an organization that champions young people, it's important that their voices are heard. So for us, it's super important that these schools that we engage with really get a say, and the installation that we create, it really represents them. So we haven't quite got an image of what that installation will look like yet, because the process of how we work is that we will upskill the young people and then we'll kind of come to a design with them. So that's going to take a few sessions during the summer, but the ambition's really to create something that champions them, but also it needs to look great. I think that's the main thing. I think a lot of the time when people work with young people, engage with young people, they assume it will be something quite ad hoc or not as crisp. But I think for us, it needs to be something that you look at and is as good as any contemporary designer.
Brilliant, thank you, Sean. Last year you guys won the Emerging Design Medal, and this year you've been invited to, do a major installation for us at Battersea. What does that feel like?
Fantastic. I mean, to be able to kind of upscale the work that we're doing is super important to us. And it's not about us just going from a smaller installation to something that is much bigger. It's the opportunity that we can give to the actual young people. So this picture on the right doesn't show the young people that actually designed it, but I think one of the most powerful things about doing the work that we do is seeing the young people that started sketching out the designs, that don't see themselves as architects or any kind of designer, and then them being able to take their parents, their aunties, their siblings to see the thing that they've created. And I think that is really priceless, because there's so many times that we look at good designs and they may be fantastic, but the story, as Ben was saying, about kind of being a storyteller, the story isn't as strong. And I think for us, being able to now tell a massive story of these kind of young people and empowering them at Battersea Power Station is fantastic.
Brilliant, thank you. And one more question about the process. Sort of, the workshops that you do in the lead up to September are sort of going to inform this installation. What is that process like, working with these young people?
So for anyone that's worked with school kids, you'll probably think, how can a school kid design an installation? So the first thing that we usually do is that we actually upskill the young people. So we don't just go in and be like, okay, design this installation, because firstly, they probably wouldn't even care about the installation. But secondly, they probably need some kind of tips in terms of what tools do you use to actually design an installation. So the first session will be a kind of introduction to design, teaching them about kind of architectural drawings or drawings that we use as designers, so elevations, plans, and getting their head around those kind of tools. Once we do that, then we'll have a more in-depth conversation about what it is to be a part of Battersea and what you would like to see in Battersea. And then we will use the later sessions to really craft what it is they want to design. Obviously, as school students, it may be quite difficult to actually create something that's actually going to be feasible, but that's of course our job as designers to make that kind of idea and drive and concept something tangible and physical.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Sean. Our second festival commission for this year is Craft Tech, which will be an exhibition at the V&A's Prince Consort Gallery. The Craft Tech initiative bridges the gap between traditional Japanese craft and contemporary technology. Craft Tech has invited a number of international designers to work alongside master craftspeople from the Tohoku region in Japan. And these designers include Sabine Marcellis, Studio Swine, and Ini Archibong, amongst several others. These designers are going to try and give new meaning to these traditional crafts. We have Hideki Yoshimoto, the founder of Craft Tech, joining us remotely today. Hello, Hideki, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Brilliant, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about the Craft Tech initiative and a bit more about your mission?
Sure. This is Hideki. I'm calling from Tokyo, which is 2:50 a.m. But it's my honor. It's my honor to be in the London Design Festival. Craft and Tech was founded in Japan, obviously 4 years ago already, and we have prepared for this many years to make this ambitious concept happen, which is as you said, unifying Japanese traditional craft and contemporary technology through design. So to do that, myself and our curatorial director, Maria Cristina Diderot, together, we picked up 6 crafts and 6 artists who are Sabine Marcellis, Studio Swine, Ini Archibong, Michael Liang, and Yoichi Ochiai, and myself. And we were working very hard together to create one-of-a-kind collaborations where this contemporary design meets Japanese traditional craft to create one-of-a-kind pieces of art.
Brilliant, thank you. The Tohoku region includes 6 prefectures and it has a rich history and craft tradition. Can you tell us more about the traditional crafts in the region?
Sure. So basically, this ambitious concept is to start from Tohoku, which is the northeast part of Japan, and then we want to continue these collaborations, moving to another region, then another region, eventually to cover whole Japan in, 15 years or 20 years of time. So I picked up Tohoku region for the first edition because, as I said, it has a really rich culture of craft, and we have a variety of crafts this time, from lacquerware, ironware, textile, and, of course, ceramics. And they have like 500 years history, or 800, or sometimes 1,200 years history. So, this rich culture is really the heart of this concept and this project. On top of that, actually Tohoku is the area which was hit by the big tsunami disaster 2011. So I wanted to start this project from this region A part of the reason is, to respect the big challenge they have done to overcome the huge damage.
Okay, brilliant. Can you tell us a bit about what visitors to the V&A will see in September as part of this exhibition?
So yes, as I said, we have 6 artisans, 6 crafts on one hand, and 6 artists on the other hand, to create these 6 collaborations. So always, we have the 6 pieces of art, and we did the inaugural exhibition in Tokyo last month, and then we just finished our presentation in a Design Miami in Basel last week, where we've got the one of the best show prizes. So we are so excited about this new exhibition in V&A. So this project is all about tradition and contemporary coming together, and in this sense, I'm pretty sure that V&A is really, really perfect place. And the older exhibition, every exhibition is very different, although we have the same pieces of art, because of the power of a setting. So I'm pretty sure this V&A exhibition will be so beautiful, thanks to the gorgeous atmosphere of history which this museum can offer.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hideki, and
thank you.
Thank you for joining us so late at the night.
Thank you very much.
London Design Festival at the V&A is a unique collaboration between the world's leading museum of art, design and performance and London's foremost design festival, now entering its 15th year together as the official festival hub. This collaboration will see iconic spaces within the museum be transformed with extraordinary collection of specially commissioned displays, projects, and installations. Here to tell us a bit more about it is Carrie Chan, the Contemporary Program Curator. Hi, Carrie.
Hello. So as you said, our project is always about bringing global cultures together. So one of our key projects this year is our annual Emerging Designer Commission. So actually, we have appointed 3 emerging designers this year. They are on screen, and they are also here in the 3rd row as well. So they all come from very diverse background. Arjun Asa is South Asian, but he grew up in Kenya. And we also have Liang, who is originally from Taiwan, and Angela, who from Studio Or Origins as well, and her heritage is linked to Jamaica. So our interest is really to kind of unpack this concept of origins through material investigation and contemporary design practice. And also thinking about how, for instance, in Arjun's case, his spiritual roots in Sikhism can feed into contemporary design and also connect diaspora communities here in London. Thinking about Liang's work, which is very interesting, is about investigation of hardware industries in Taiwan, Netherlands, and UK, and particularly thinking about barrier as an object at the V&A and how she can redefine the distance between museum objects and people by redesigning this concept of barrier. And Angela is also designing new design products, so outcomes based on kind of her investigation into displaced raw materials from the original regions.
Brilliant, thank you. Can you give us a snapshot of some of the other projects as well that will be at the V&A this year?
Sure. So I can see Giles is here as well. So we're very honored to have Giles presenting his table communion, which is really about bringing his heritage, Ghanaian culinary tradition, as well as the process of making fufu, this kind of pounding motion, which will be kind of will be the center element of this project, and it's about bringing people together to experience this pounding motion, and also kind of thinking about how this everyday act can be turned into a performance. And then we also have a project by Modular by Mensa, which is sponsored by Bridge of Weir Leather and Muirhead in Scotland, called Unhide Reframing Luxury. So it's a series of seating installation exploring interaction as well as shareable practices through at the V&A. And it's also about bringing people together to think about leather beyond is what we know as a luxury material. It's actually also a sustainable material, and also bringing people together to think about the life cycles of leather production as well. We also have a project called SIM Projects, which is very interesting. It's kind of referencing refugee communities in the UK, particularly the Syrian communities in Coventry, how they connect with their loved ones through mobile phones. And also SIM Projects, one of the designers has actually used a photographic process in transferring the digital images of their loved ones into SIM card size glass panels, and 200 of these panels will be put together as an installation as well. And we also have Studio Bark bringing a project to our architectural lending, which is called Barricade and Beacon. So it's referencing architectural structures in protest actions such as Extinction Rebellion, and bringing some of those elements to the V&A.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you.
Global Design Forum is the festival's curated thought leadership program, which will return to the V&A once again this year. Over 60 speakers will be discussing responsible design, healthy cities, resilience and repair, human-centered design, as well as responses to conflict and disaster, amongst many other topics. We have Jess McFarlane, the GDF Program Director, here with us today to tell us a bit about what the conversations will hold.
Hi, thanks,
Hi,
Bianca.
Jess. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the daily themes that GDF will be pulling together this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much. So as you mentioned, we will be discussing responsible design under the header of Please Design Responsibly. During this day, we'll be looking at a number of topics, including alternative material approaches, regenerative system design, how to open up collaboration to achieve shared and crucial targets and goals, and redefining the role of the designer to also impact these challenges. We, as Jennifer mentioned earlier, will be partnering with Johnny Walker on that day of the programme, which we're very happy to announce. Secondly, as you mentioned, we'll be exploring healthy cities, looking at how designers can contribute to the shape and future of healthier, greener, better designed cities. We'll be looking to tackle how design can tackle challenges of urban air, noise, and light pollution, failing urban biodiversity and biophilia, and how designers, just as Sean was talking about, can better work with local communities, policymakers, and other agencies to create better designed cities for those that it serves. We'll be partnering with VLUX on this day, which we're very happy about. Finally, for now, we'll be talking about a theme of resilience and repair. This is in partnership with Turkish Design Council, who are themselves embarking on a very ambitious project to rebuild the city and the surrounding province of Hatay following the devastating earthquake in February 2023. We'll be exploring this project as well as many of the questions it raises, including how designers can meaningfully respond to disaster, conflict, and the results of climate change. Also, how designers can, what projects they can embark on now for future occurrences of this kind. And then also mitigation and repair, and how designers can protect the loss of cultural identity and heritage of communities affected by disaster, displacement, conflict, similar to the Craft Tech project that's born out of, obviously, a disaster, but having hope to look forward to. We will be announcing more topics to come, and obviously speakers, so watch this space.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jess. An important part of the festival makeup are our design districts. From north to south, east to west, each of them has their own personality and reflects the local community. This year, we're very pleased to announce 11 design districts, and those are Bankside, Battersea, Brompton, Chelsea, Dalston to Stokey, Fitzrovia, Greenwich Peninsula, Mayfair, Park Royal, Shoreditch, and the William Morris Design Line, which is in Walthamstow. And we're very pleased to have one of our districts here with us today, this evening. Can I please welcome Rebecca Williams, Greenwich Peninsula's Head of Brand and Placemaking. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, how you doing?
Thank you for being here. I know you have an opening over at Greenwich Peninsula.
I do.
Greenwich has become London's permanent hub for the creative industries. It comprises Design District, Now Gallery, The Tide, and Riverside Walk. Can you tell us a bit about the vision for the area?
Definitely. I think it would be helpful to start off just explaining a bit about Greenwich Peninsula. I think sometimes people don't actually know what it is or where it is. We're a 150-acre site, which is twice the size of Soho. So it really gives you some context of the scale. We're building 17,500 homes, which comprises of 7 districts. We've built 3 so far, so we've still got a little way to go. We're 10 years into a 30-year master plan. At the heart of Greenwich Peninsula is the Design District, which comprises of 14 buildings for the creative industries. We really saw a need for creative industries in London, knowing that they were being priced out and pushed out of neighbourhoods. We are really excited about our collaboration with LDF, because actually part of what we do is root everything through our pillars of art, design, and creativity. And we really believe that by doing that, we can foster communities and really support creative industries.
Brilliant, thank you. Can you give us a bit of a taster of what's in store for September?
Most definitely. We've got an insane roster of events across some self-guided and some build events as well. So I've actually got a list because I'm never going to remember them all off the top of my head. But Design District are doing an amazing collaboration with tenants. So on the 14th of September, we've got everything from ceramic tile painting made by Manos, a textile design workshop with the amazing designer Helen Kirkham, dried flower wreath making with Bloom East, an open studio tour. Design District is made up of the most phenomenal businesses. We have 170 businesses, which comprises about 1,800 people. So it's just wonderful to be able to showcase all that's on offer. So the open studio tours will be Adecco, Engageworks, Haberdashery, gorgeous lighting design, Ryan London, and Wizard Works. So there's a huge amount going on. And then we have the exhibition that is launching this evening. So I am dashing off after this. We've done a collaboration with Cannes Architects and John Booth, amazing illustrator. We've got an exhibition called Up in Smoke. I could talk about this all night. It is the most beautiful thing, where we are looking at the history of the peninsula, which was previously a marshland. So we've looked at the history, the industrial history, and the impact of chimneys on industry. And we've actually built these phenomenal structures that you can explore and navigate through. We've got workshops with Common Exception and Coco Lom, with collaging, say the word, and amazing playlists. We are doing, I'll be quick, I know I don't have much time. We've got Kitty Joseph, the most phenomenal fashion designer, doing a lovely installation on the Riverwalk, which is to be announced shortly, so little preview. And we've got some we've got some temporary installations by Ian Davenport, YBA, and Marwan Kabor, which are on the Tide, which is a beautiful architectural structure. And there is so much more, so come down and join us, please.
Brilliant, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As part of the programme, the commercial pillars of the festival are a key meeting place for designers, specifiers, manufacturers, buyers, design enthusiasts, and the media, where they can look at new product releases, but also identify current and emerging trends. Material Matters will be returning to Barge House at Oxo Tower Wharf this year from the 18th to the 21st of September. Over 50 exhibitors from both London and around the world will come together to explore material intelligence. Really pleased to introduce William Knight, co-founder of Material Matters, as well as Zena Holloway, a bio-designer and founder of Rootful, one of this year's exhibitors. Will, this is the third edition of Material Matters, and the fair is going from strength to strength. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're excited about this year and some of the highlights that we're going to see in September?
Well, listen, it's been fantastic hearing all the stories that you've been telling already. And the story that we have to tell is a commercially focused one, which, hasn't been easy. It's taken 3 years to get to a point where we're feeling very confident about what the fair is, what it does, who it attracts. And as Bianca said, it's one of the commercial cornerstones of the festival now, which we're very proud of. I think the point of the fair, for those of you that have not been, is to demonstrate a kind of huge scope, a variety of different interests that come together under the broad umbrella of what a well-appointed and well-applied material can and should be in the context of design and architecture. So we have a building. It's across 4 floors. It takes in everything from very cutting-edge, innovative new materials, pre-commercial materials, through to industrial process and exploration to particular materials, through to specifiable, market-ready materials, all the way through to micro-manufacturers and craftspeople.
Brilliant. Thank you, Will. Zena, you founded Rootful after seeing the effects of plastic pollution in our oceans. You've since been growing sculpture and lighting using grassroots. I know you brought some of the material here with you today. Can you tell us a bit about your process and also what you'll be showing in Material Matters in September?
Yeah, sure. So I brought a sample here. A lot of people think when they first see this that it's been woven or knitted or sewn, but this is actually grown from grassroots. And what I do is I sow the seed on templates that I carve from wax. And the root grows down onto the templates. It winds its way through the pattern in order to create these textures. After 2 weeks, I harvest the root. I slice off the top, that's the shoot and the seed, and I give that bit to my chickens. And then I'm left with the textile, which I dry out. And the interesting thing about this material is that it demonstrates biodesign in the simplest terms. It shows how we can grow materials rather than have to mine for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And what will you be showing at Material Matters this year? Is it going to be a selection of lighting and sculpture, or are you still working on that?
Yes, lighting and sculpture, definitely. And I've recently won a scholarship from Quest, which has allowed me to collaborate with a computational designer in order to be able to design and 3D print templates, which I'm going to be duplicating in beeswax and growing seed on top to grow the textile. And the thing about 3D printing is that it's limited by the materials that it prints with. But coupled with root textile, it's a way to program nature, which is kind of exciting. So I'm going to be using these new textiles and patterns and shapes to design and craft new pieces, new interior pieces for the show.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Will, anything else to add?
Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about our press preview. So obviously for members of the press, the media, we open in the context of the festival week, we open our doors on Wednesday to the public, but the night before, which is Tuesday the 17th, our press preview will be taking place, to which, of course, you're all invited. And there are a couple of other bits to say. One is that we're delighted to be working with the Oxford Tower, Coin Street, and the programming that will be happening immediately around the Barge House. And then, of course, we're delighted to be part of the Bankside Design District as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay. Every year, well-renowned creative agency Pentagram produced the annual LDF graphic identity. While the color palette remains the same, Pentagram produced a distinctive visual identity, and this year we're exploring the concept of duality. We have Dominic Lipa here today with us. He's partner at Pentagram, and he's been leading the direction of this since 2007. Dom, can you tell us a little bit about this year's concept? What inspired it, and why do you think it's relevant for London and design just more generally?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously it's been a long journey, and every year when we start the design press, internally we always try and develop themes before we start. And I think duality, certainly in my work, has been ever present. So whether it's contrast between dark and light, scale, big type, small type, imagery and typography, there are many different forms of contrast. And we could have called this theme contrast or tension. So duality to me is something which is ever present in design. In our particular case this year, we took the simple task of taking 2 fonts. We'd like to break things down into a very sort of simple expression and then rebuild it. My team know that I don't like italic fonts, so they made me use 2 italic fonts. One is Clarendon, which is the serif, which is a very old font, and then the sans serif is called Gravity, and that's much more contemporary. But even though I think it has a retro feel, it almost looks like a street sign from the 60s. But I think also duality exists in London itself. You have incredibly old parts of the city and very modern parts. You have old architecture and modern architecture. You have old brands like we work with Liberty and Berry Brothers, who are constantly trying to bring modernity. So I think the duality theme does still resonate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I talked briefly about how the color palette remains the same year on year. That must be incredibly challenging for you. How do you keep it fresh and distinctive?
Well, that was my fault. When I talked to Ben and John about that, I said, just use red. I still believe it's our strongest asset. Occasionally, when we're feeling very dynamic, we bring in something like black, just to really shake things up. I still believe in I think, I remember when I was very young, a quote, and I'll paraphrase it, but if you could produce a great piece of graphic design with one color on a matchbox, the smallest thing you could think of, then you've produced something. So I still think just focusing on red is a challenge, but I think actually for my team, it parks or pushes away one of the issues that most designers have to tackle with graphic designers, which is color, and then we can focus on actually trying to create something which, I say, produces tension. I think tension is good. So I do like the negative spaces. I do like some of the things which are ugly. I think that is actually quite an interesting typographic and graphic design expression, and we're proud of it.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Don.
Anytime.
Oh. So we've heard a little bit about this year's program. We will be announcing a lot more in the coming weeks. But I also wanted to say that in addition to the program, every year the festival recognises the contribution made by leading design figures with the London Design Medals. We're very pleased to be announcing that Johnny Walker is the sponsor of the London Design Medal this year. Bentley Motors is sponsor of the Design Innovation Medal. And we're really pleased to be continuing our long-standing relationship and partnership with Fortnum & Mason. The London Design Medal winners will be announced in September, so keep your ears and eyes peeled for that one. And lastly, thank you very much for being here with us. A big thank you to 100 Shoreditch, as well as Johnny Walker again, for supporting this evening. And that's it. Please join us for a drink next door.